Okay, so let's put together our next little monster here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our little stamping slash journaling piece on the back of our card. And as I mentioned in the previous videos, I am gluing this texture side up. I don't mind stamping on the texture. I still think it comes out nice, and I love the texture, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, just get your glue out to the edges as nicely as you can. If you have an area with too much glue, maybe dab it down or brush it down a little bit so that it doesn't warp or show through. Get that nice and centered on your card. You should have a nice even border going all the way around. Okay, and then just push that down. There we go. Perfect. Flip it over and we grab our little monster. The black piece is the bottom piece. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that when we design these, we design them so that this is not, you don't center this. You want it to the top left so that there's a little shadow area on the bottom right portion of this design. So you'll see here at the bottom and over to the right, there's a little shadow, where on the left side here, you don't see it as much, if at all. Okay, so when we line this up, we just want to make sure that we're aligning it top left. Okay, so I'm just going to put my glue. I'm just going to use dots because there's a lot of, these are pretty small. And on top of that, we want to make sure that we don't warp the paper and have a big glue explosion. If you're doing this with kids, I think a glue stick would work fine. So definitely get them involved if you can, or maybe you don't want to, that's okay. All right, so again, just make sure that you're lining this up top left. I looked at these two little nodes here. I guess you can call them little scallops or whatever, and that's what I used to help me with the alignment to make sure that I'm getting that drop shadow there. Okay, and just push that down, hold it in place. Okay, now this little monster has some red feet. Okay, you can see where the feet go like that. So let's get some glue on his little toes. Just a few dots here and there. And just line that up with the existing foot that's there. Make sure you get it nice and in place there. Grab the other one. And again, just some dots of glue. I'm gonna dab that a little bit. And here we go. All right. Which leaves his little mouth. We'll grab this piece. It kind of looks like a heart, but it's not. So just make sure you get the right piece. Okay. And that was maybe a little too much. So I'm just going to dab that a little bit so it doesn't smear. And you want to align this with this little section here. Okay, so it's like that. He's got a little nose. It's this piece here. I'm going to grab my pick-me-up tool to help me out. And just a nice little amount of glue on there. You can flatten it out a little bit. And his nose goes with the point pointing up. We'll just center it right about there. Okay, and there's a heart that goes on that piece, so we don't need to worry about that right now. And then what we want to do is we've got some googly eyes, and just check your local Michael's or Joann's. They usually have packs of googly eyes in various sizes. Okay, so we're just going to put some glue on the back of these and get our googly eyes in place just above the nose. Make sure you get it nice and centered. That was a little too much glue there. Dab that, flatten it out, and there we go. Just push that down, make sure it gets a good hold. Let me see how centered he looks. I think he has a little mild ptosis there. Oh no. There we go. He's a monster, so he may not be completely symmetrical, and that's okay. All right, and we are going to pop dot. I'm using some foam squares here. We're going to foam square him to our project just to give him a little more dimension. It's going to make him look really cute and stand out and make these even more fun. There's some sort of novelty to dimension when it comes to cards and Valentines. You know, they're extra special when you add that sort of thing. So there is our card base. Let's get him on here nice and centered. Okay, that looks good. Okay, and our little heart is going to go right between his little hands. So just dot a little bit of glue on the back of the heart. Again, I've got my pick-me-up tool here, and just pop that right in the center there. I'm going to adjust that a little bit. That looks good. Got a little bit of that tacky stuff from my pick-me-up tool was left on the heart, but there is your next little Valentine. Beautiful.